do an extremely chill Roundrel run here, just to see what kind of... which one here? Both of them seem solid. This one's kind of what I want more. I either try and collect some delusion stuff, or maybe some debuff stuff. Those are the two main things I'm hoping for. And part of the reason I really wanted to do a Cruci Zero run was I actually just had a pretty interesting run. Cruci 16, so pretty hard, but it was a custom run. However, it wasn't exactly a custom run that was helping me out, shall we say. I started off with the Adventurer's Backpack, and I replaced all of my starting orbs with Horriballs. So it was actually like a reasonably decent run. I'm not going to say that it was like the worst run ever, but it obviously has some downsides. Let's try and... I have the recording here and I'll be pulling it up along with the run, just to try and explain kind of how it went. I was hoping for a bit more damage, to be honest. I'm sure that delusion will really come in handy. Yeah, delusion will really come in handy. Cool stuff. Anyway, so I have the run here, and I actually was reasonably impressed with it overall, to be honest. I'll show you like the shots. So this is a pretty average map, and it's actually getting a whole lot of damage. Like 250 damage there? That's pretty crazy. So in theory, it's not too bad, because you've got Adventurer's Backpack, and it's really turning them into high damage orbs. The problem is, that was a snippet from the start of the run, and the start of the run is basically when it's the strongest, because you don't get to upgrade those orbs, unless you can somehow add more Horriballs to your deck, which, like, is that really upgrading it? You know what I mean? So yeah, you don't get to upgrade it, and you don't have anything to remove from your deck, so your deck's basically at its maximum possible output. I love that. From basically the beginning of the run. Like there's... okay. We could build around that, that might be fun. I think it's a very good passive. Ooh, 15 free gold. Damn, that's good. No. I'm not going to be crazy. Although having no upgrades beyond this point is kind of crazy. Smith Fiction 1. It's cool. This is going to hurt. I don't think this is going to be the most fun. Anyway, so the fight was actually overall reasonably decent. Let's just go through. We had some fights. Oh, we had this slime drop fight. It was pretty easy. I basically just allowed myself to take a bunch of damage, and you'll see there, those are the passives that I got for the options. Now, they weren't bad choices. In fact, I would have happily taken quite a few of them. But if you notice, like, it's incredibly early on into the run. And so, there's a grinding monstera there. I just took the grinding monstera. Yeah, Ring's also very decent there, but like, so is Refreshing Punch. Ring's really decent for the AoE it provides later on, particularly in Area 2, and also in Area 1 boss fights and elite fights where you're going to lose a ton of health. And Refreshing Punch gives you really nice high roll off of the boss passive option. So I was really considering both of them. Taking 2 Minotaur hits here, I think that's pretty fine. It's obviously not ideal, and if we could get a dodge hit up. Wow, not bad. Certainly we'll take that. Yeah, that's really good. Form Supply Spinfection 2. Spinfection 2 is very different to Spinfection 1. Getting an upgrade there is also really nice. Doesn't technically matter, so I'll just go... Sweet. Yeah, it's fine. It doesn't really add that much. Ooh, no bomb hits down. I was hoping for a tiny bit more cash from that. More max HP is cool. I just wanted a little bit of cash there. Think it's going to pay out. Oh, a slime drop fight? Sure. Getting debuffs in this fight is extremely important. I might try and pull this up on the other screen. Hold on. Much better. That way I can go through without having it taking up my game time. Yeah, we just want to stack up debuffs. Blind is not the most helpful debuff for this fight, but it's pretty decent. Oh, sorry, yeah, I forgot about it, sorry. I'm just gonna get some stuff going, since it should be pretty cool. Infection, yes. So Infection was by far the best debuff to hit there. It's so good, actually. I'm not sure if I actually wanted to kill him already. But I'll take it. I have the cash I want, anyway. C and Oboe. Both are very decent. I think he's kind of more fun, but I think I'm doing debuff stuff. And if I'm doing debuff stuff, then I don't really care about illusion as much. Definitely just full buying passives here. In terms of debuffing, yeah, I could have taken a Spinfectious Sting and potentially also Susceptible. I don't think it's that interesting there, so I didn't take it. Story is nice. I've Total extremely nice to pick up just before the boss. And Gloves can do some decent stuff. Nothing too crazy though. I mean, well, if we get one dodge in this fight, that would be nice. Which we undoubtedly will, to be honest, yeah. It's extremely likely that we will get that exact couple. Perfect, look at all of this Spinfection I've got going. Whoa, was this just an insane fight for me? Last fight where you lose no health is pretty extraordinary to get. So if we got that here, that would be exceptional. Wow. Exceptional indeed. That sets us up really well for the boss fight. These are all pretty damn bad. I think we're just pretty fine into this guy despite our deck not being the craziest. So yeah, I took a Grinding Monster there. I figured that early Grinding Monster is just one of the best passives in the game. And I mean, it really is. That's really good by my 4 Exploitable already. So good. One of the best debuffs for me to get. Let's keep that Spinfection going. We can claim a lot of damage off of Spinfection, so might as well try. I think those are like the 2 best debuffs for us to hit, straight up. Like, Brambles cool and all, but we don't really need it. It gets 0 use out of Mask of Sorrow. Not that we need it to get use out of Mask of Sorrow, but it's just kind of funny because we're versing the one enemy in the game period. Doesn't care about Mask of Sorrow increasing the Bramble amount by 1. Oh, this is going to be... I was going to say Insane Shot, but it was much worse than I thought it would be. Tons of cash there, and you're basically just dead. Boom, boom. Can't deal with the Spinfection scaling. I was actually kind of hoping for bomb steel damage there. That would have been funny. Meteorite, Defresh, Leaf. What I was going to get to soon is I didn't take a Leaf that run, and I mean, obviously, I already had the Refreshing Punch, so it sounds, in theory, extremely nice. I'll just stick with a Meteorite, I think? Nah. Yeah. I'll stick with a Meteorite. I think it's just very solid with the bomb stuff we're trying to do. And we're not really trying to force a Leaf build. That looks like a right if ever I've seen one, followed by a left. Not as many treasure chests and stuff as I would enjoy. Oh yeah, so there was this shop. And I was... Hello. Thank you. I was extremely happy with this store. Like, these are 4 amazing passives here. Because my deck is only Horribles, which are large orbs, and there's a Unicorn Horn, it was actually the first passive I picked up. Because it's actually just that good for Horribles. And between the 3 of these passives, like obviously I can buy all of them. And in fact, I obviously do end up buying all of them because they're all amazing. But shockingly enough, Ambidextrine is actually the worst for me here. Because if you look at my deck that run... Oh, there you go. Like, it was full of Horribles, which are the best all in my deck, and also the most... It's like the highest quantity of orbs in my deck that I have. Which, means that I really don't require the Ambidextrine as much as possible. Because the Terrible and the Pebble, they actually do have uses in my deck. I was using them for, popping the Refresh, because Horrible is just horrible for popping Refresh. So you've kind of got to rely on something else. So I really didn't need it as much. These refreshes are extremely unfortunate, aren't they? Let's hope Meteorite can do something, but apparently not. Anyway, so that still was insane. That was around about the point where I was like, oh yeah, this run can like actually do something. Since I'm not showing the run, like, it clearly didn't work out so well for me. And you'll see why in just a second. Because, yeah, that's not a surprise it didn't win. Okay, so then I took a whole bunch of damage later on to the trees, the new elites. Turns out they can actually deal a ton of damage, and I didn't really get the best possible fight against them. I didn't understand how Horriball really worked well on that map, and my refresh got caught up in a really bad spot and I lost a whole bunch of health. That kind of just happened a bit too many times this run for it to be a real run, I think. I think it was the main problem with my run, is I never really hit like a fresh banana or something. Which, you know, when you're playing on higher crucies, you kind of need a high roll a lot better than normal. Surely a dodge, good. I was kind of trying to only shoot that orb for a reason. Cool stuff. Yeah, so I lost a whole bunch of health, and it actually, due to the positioning of the fight, it kind of forced me to heal. So I healed up, which is plus 15 HP. Which will come in handy later. Oh, that was a... yuck. Wait, what? Huh? But it says it's a treasure chest, so why did the Orbit story prop? Is that really a rare passive? It's such a bad rare passive then. What? It has to be a rare passive, right? That's why it made the sound. Unless it's just straight up bug. That's weird. Let's try and pop as many bombs as we can. Perfect. If we can get this infection scaling, that can actually claim kills. Yeah, like that. Nice. And then this bomb is on one charge and it gives us cash when we detonate it. Like, sounds worth. Good stuff. Anyway, lost a whole bunch of health. All of this? I'm trying to do debuff stuff, but I haven't really found exactly what it is I'm looking for yet. No scaling, but we do have a distal card. A bit of healing is really good, especially since Molten Gold is also boosting the power of it. Well, at least our evasive maneuver orb's now level 3. Our deck is looking quite thin though, which could be a good thing or a bad thing. That was a very fast shot. You're dealing more damage to me this shot. Where am I shooting? I think there. I'm not a big fan of the shot, but maybe it worked out. It did not, except I got a dodge. Good stuff. Let's take out you. Let's take out you. Yeah. You get a lot of illusion every shot, so evasive maneuver can just constantly get you dodges. This is working out well. Obviously, a big part of the reason why it's actually working out is the fact that we're playing Cruci 0. There are a lot of crucible levels that would punish this kind of strategy. They can make it a lot less fun. Anyway, I dropped a lot of health to elites, I think. Yeah. So I was only walking into the boss fight with 41 health, effectively. Not as much as you would like, it was a Betsy. And I don't think the elite fight just didn't give me a good passive, it gave me Betsy's Hedge, which, like, kind of funny that they both share the same name, but not really that handy. That was a really good passive, actually. Really good. That was a really good passive, too. I like it. Resistance time would be perfect here. This is also pretty decent, to be honest. Yeah, so I walk into the Betsy fight, it's pretty generous, like, I'm getting good damage. I pick up a well-run steak in the store just before the fight. It's, like, decent, but nothing too crazy. At this point, my Horriballs are 8/8s because of Betsy's Hedge. I have 2 crits on the board. Like, they're actually outputting very, very decent damage. And I chunk my way through Betsy. Takes a while, and ironically enough, ooh, these are some interesting passives. I think it's simply just Branch of Ember though. We are a bomb build, but yeah, I'll just take Branch. Branch is quite cool. It's exactly the kind of thing I'm looking for in terms of debuff stuff. Although increasing my crit damage is probably pretty important as well, so maybe I should have taken that. Branch is kind of more enjoyable though, I think. Yeah, I don't know, it's a tough call. They're both pretty enjoyable. I think I'll just duplicate it. My reloads are pretty good at this point, but it's quite a solid orb. And it's going to do quite solid things, eh? Very impressive for... I don't think I've ever gotten this much damage on this map, to be honest. Like, it's pretty easy getting the damage on the other map, but getting it on this map's kind of hard. It was a targeting orb though, so apparently it takes half damage from that. It's not something I've ever really tried, because usually I have not mostly targeting orbs in my deck. This is just a one-off, it seems. Tons of illusion on discard, but it doesn't really matter. Anyway, so I fight Betsy, enter the fight on 56 health, it seems. And it drags me all the way down to 16 HP. upon which I then heal to up to half of my HP, which is 69 HP. Darkness is terrible, inflicts Bramble 2. Sounds kind of fine, but I'm not going to be taking it. Ooh. So, refresh, do something more. Grinding Monster, which is very late, but honestly will still come in handy quite a bit. I think it's a refresh also crit. One. It's a tough call, but I'll take some more critting capabilities because of effective criticism. Imagine I get leaf effective criticism, right? That'll be fun. It's not happening because I've asked for it now, but it would be an interesting idea. This fight should be pretty simple. Let's just hit my crits every shot. Don't really have any kind of crazy scaling going on, but we'll get there in the end. We're applying a lot of debuffs. The explodable per pick was definitely the take, wasn't it? It would have been a great idea. Anyway, then we enter Area 2. We have some pretty nasty fights where we're like dropping 30 health because, you know, like this fight is just so brutal, like actually just so annoying. I feel like there are just some Area 2 fights which like, ugh. Sure, I understand that it's like extremely prioritizing that you pick up AoE yourself, but it's just so punishing sometimes. It's just extremely, extremely nasty. Smash. Cool stuff. Getting decent damage, like 10 damage, don't mind if I do. 10 damage on a crit's not bad. Like, I'm really impressed with the Nibble recently. Just a 313? Like, damn. Those are some good stats, especially when you're also providing scaling. You're just dead? Yes. Very cool. Concentrication versus Coin Dragon. If I do fight Coin Dragon, I actually really do want Concentrication, but I don't know who I'm fighting just yet. PS, Satchel, Cursed Mask. I'm taking Sack. I want to make this a bomb build round build, and Sack's pretty good for doing that. I also have a few tools that are good for keeping me alive against Sack, so maybe it actually works out. I think that Sack is overall a pretty crazy pick. Sack's... I don't know. I was going to say that it's a passive that you want to pick up so that you have it for Area 2. But it's also like, if you don't have healing, you don't really want to be picking up Sack anyway, so is that really the case? Because like, obviously, you know, it's really, really handy in Area 2. As I was just talking about, you really want access to as much, I'm picking this up, it's quite good. To as much AoE as you can for Area 2, because there are some fights that are really, really going to punish you for it. Like the one I just showed. But, you know, Sack comes with its own downside. Which is, Sack is good as long as you're losing less health from Sack than you would be from the enemies. Which in some fights is very easy to do, in other fights it's pretty much impossible. Claim some cash, don't mind if I do. Not really a shot I want to do. Oh, that messes up a chest. I was going to check, but I didn't check. Tell me. Oops. Oh, they increased the damage that Sapphirs deal, so I wasn't prepared for that. I see. Oh, that's unfortunate. We're not versing Coin Dragons, we're not picking up Concentrication. We're also not versing the Squares, who are super, super weak to Sapphirs. Instead, we're just versing the one person who's meant to probably punish Sapphirs the most, I guess. Coin Dragon technically also does punish Sapphirs, but you know, he's also just not a very strong boss, so it's not really that much of a punish. I like to call him the sandbox boss for a reason. Another evasive maneuver. Still don't know where I sit on not being able to dodge self-damage from like evasive maneuver and stuff. This is going to be a long fight, so I'm certainly going to skip out on it. Alrighty, good. Nice and fast. Oh, Recombobulator. That's exactly the kind of passive I wanted to take so that I can try and end as much as possible. So I feel like it's going to do an exceptionally good job of that because, of course, Recombobulator was changed so that that's a bit annoying. I would like my Restore the most. Wow. I actually got a Restore. That's really quite cool. Yes, because Recombobulator was changed so that it does not refresh as Sapphirs as Sapphirs. However, I have Sappersec, and Sappersec overrides Weaken Populator fully, which is a thing. Whether or not it's good or bad is mostly depending on your run. In this run, it's probably going to be fine. However, most of the time, it may not be as fine, because there are a lot of passives that are really good for neutralizing Sapper damage. However, we're playing a class which doesn't really have access to them. Let's just get my Restorbs going because I feel like this fight may be over particularly fast. Anyway, I wanted to show you this. This was my passive options for beating... Shield, can you work? Oh my god. What's happening? Why must you do this to me? Yeah, for being a shield mage, which by the way drained me of like 30 or something of my health, I'm exiting the fight at 22 health. Absolutely brutal. The options that it gave me were actually extremely interesting. There's Knuckles, there's Cookbook. Oh god, I want to show this on the screen. Yes, good. There we go. Knuckles, Cookbook, Salve, and Crystal Catalyst. All of which are like mildly interesting passives here, apart from like Catalyst, because I don't really have any Spinfection mobs, and I don't have any Spinfection passives. So I'm like considering what to take there, because like there are quite a few good picks. I have some decent bomb stuff going on there. That was really good. I like Greed. And I'm going to be losing a lot of health over the course of the run, so like collecting as much Greed as possible sounds pretty ideal. Well, this is pretty rude. Let's try and land Blind or Bramble, please. Transparency? That's unfortunate. Well, let's try again. Ooh, very close there. Nice! That's really quite cool. It's a lot of coins that just spawned on the map for me, and let's make sure to claim them. Alright, anytime now. Anyway, so I'm choosing between the passives, and it's actually quite a tough choice. I believe this was yet another choice which kind of defined the course of my run. If I had taken another choice, perhaps it would have turned out differently. Anyway, from here there's like only one thing I can really take, though. I just healed up, which is why my health actually looks pretty fine, but it's really not. I end up taking the Slimy Salve because it's really good here. More healing, as well as Horriballs really appreciate having the durable pegs. I think that in theory I should have just taken Alchemist Cookbook. I have an enhanced stat. The problem is my refreshing capabilities kind of just suck. So it's like, should I really take that? Like, is that actually going to work out? And of course, Knuckles would give me scaling. So despite the fact that I have pretty horrendous refreshing capabilities, Knuckles still sounds kind of decent. Oh my god. This is a bad idea, which is why I'm doing it. It's like a really bad idea. So, like, Knuckles is also a point of contention. Interesting, but yeah, we'll just move on. Anyway, I take the Slimy Salve, and if I'd known what the next event was going to be, maybe I could have done some different things, because it for sure could have changed the outcome of the run. Because I just spent some cash on healing, which meant I probably got to buy one less thing in the store, as well as I just took Slimy Salve, which is a healing passive. I did not know that you can actually get the Crystal Ultra event in Area 2. I thought it was only available in Area 3 because I've never actually been low enough health to get it in Area 2 before. I think that these are some pretty funny orbs. I should add one of them to my deck here. They're pretty good for hitting, Rubble with Explosive Momentum sounds quite cool. Then we'll just spend our cash because we have a bunch lying around now. Oh, I just realized I saw 999 cap. Maybe I should have taken it. Because I do have a lot of Illusion Gen, but I'm kind of missing like the major sources you're generally asking for meeting that 999 cap. But you know, you don't actually need to meet it. I just like dreaming about meeting it because in theory it's a nice thing to be able to achieve, which I still haven't yet achieved actually. Many things I've never achieved somehow. Getting the cap is one, getting paid out is another one. Somehow I've never been paid out. And let me tell you, I have a lot of hours in the game. Quite a few, but still never been paid out. So I want to see how fast this guy can be. I suspect the second shot may be enough to kill him. I think this works in his favor, where he spawns 2 sappers. Whenever he tries to spawn sappers. I don't think he spawns sappers though, doesn't he convert bombs instead of spawn sappers? Oh, that was garbage. I was hoping that would be the shot that ended the fight. Oh well. Anyway, yeah, so if I'd had more bomb power, because the thing is, bomb power when you have enhanced damage, enhanced gunpowder, and good damage is such a massive damage improvement. It's like actually so good. Also, it looks like we are just going to sap him to death. They just deal more than enough damage, and we have enough health and a good enough shot each time that it is just going to kill him simply. Especially since when we hit a refresh or reload, we're getting all those sappers back, and they just deal so much damage to him. Like that was 300 damage, delusion, 300 infection damage even, that he was going to have to deal with. So yeah, that was just a fun little run. Tried to build it around bombs. I found the bomb passive that I was looking for, despite the fact that it is extremely troll, but it totally worked out. Like I even picked up the intentional oboe earlier, specifically because of it. Yeah, we had a lot of bomb passives actually. Still missing some of the ones that I would have really loved. Like Cookbook would have been amazing this round. And the evasive maneuver certainly did a pretty good job. 44 illusion per shot is extremely nice, especially when it's also dealing very solid crit damage. I do appreciate that. I have a back of orange pegs. That makes a lot of sense. There were a lot of shots where we were just pulling out more damage than I felt that we had available to us. And yeah, due to our lack of refreshing capabilities, I was surprised that the bag of orange pegs was getting a solid enough damage boost. I think picking up the restore was also a great call. Don't know how much max health we ended up with, but I think it was just a pretty decent call. Actually, I'll just check that right now. How much max health did we end up with? Not much, if I suspect. Yes, 133. Yeah, very cool run overall. Now just quickly, let's finish up this one. Yes, thank you. You can stop doing that. Anyway, I had some pretty miserable fights. Even this fight, I think I lost some health in, which is like pretty impressive. Don't expect to lose health in this fight. I did just reclaim it all then. Yeah, so I had a Crystal Ultra event, if I can show you right here. It was the node just before the store, which I didn't realize could spawn in Area 2. That did solve the health problems that I was having. Anyway, it's at this point where I'm looking at my passives and my deck. My deck is just fully horrible, so nothing too crazy there. And there's not really anything here which gives me scaling. So I have to fight Deal with my boss, and that's an extremely scary fight. If I'm going to be fighting scaling, I don't really have a choice about which way I've got to go. Because either I go here, I get one question mark, one treasure chest, which like, yeah, could do it to me, or like, I guess this question mark could also give me something. But I can't add any orbs to my deck, remember? And one of the better ways to set yourself up against Demon is adding orbs to your deck. So I'm kind of forced to go to this elite, try and snipe a rarer passive, right? As well as I'll be able to claim one passive in the store, and there aren't many passives I'm really looking for in the store. But like if I hit a fresh bandana or like a refresher course, that really would. Oh, I guess also like short fuse. That really would change the outcome of the run. So what we get a Deal here, but the fight's like pretty mediocre. I have some trouble hitting some refreshes sometimes. Overall, I'm outputting good damage, but he actually does get to me, and he gets a hit off. I do this shot here to try and hit the refresh. I just missed it because I wasn't really aiming that much. Kind of silly, but I knew at this point that it didn't matter because I didn't have any more health loss before the boss, and the boss was not going to try and deal any damage to me. It was just going to insta-kill me when it got to me. Anyway, and then I see my passives here, and there's no scaling here. Like, Boomiverse would have been extremely interesting if I picked up the Cookbook, but unfortunately I didn't pick up Cookbook, so, like, what am I meant to do? I love how you can just tell, like, Doom. So I pick up Multi-Ball, because I think that it deals the most damage out of all the passives here. Here, I am actually considering these options quite a lot. Again, I can't pick up any orbs here to help me out, so I have to pick between these four passives. And which one's going to provide the most? I was talking about it here, as you can tell from my cursor. I think Tactical Retreat actually does provide the most here. I think that because I only have one refresh on the board, my deck's full of Horribles, and it's very hard for Horribles to hit refreshes. I was getting a lot of grief in Area 2 because the Horribles just wasn't hitting refreshes. So I figured that Refreshing Treat would have been the best one. I think that's what it's called. Just because it allows me to hit my refreshes better. In the end, I go with Refill Buster. It's just much more solid all around, as well as if the refreshers are reshuffling themselves to a part of the board that I can't hit, like, what's the point in taking Refreshing Retreat, right? Anyway, so the first few shots are very decent. We're putting some very decent holes in him. Like, this is very good damage pressure, but you'll see here, like, this refresh is in a nasty position. I did manage to hit that somehow. Where's the next refresh? Yeah, that's a pretty fine position, I think. Yes, and then we get this position, which completely nasty. Oh yeah, that's how bad the position was, right? Like this was our second bad position, I believe. I believe we spent 3 or 4 shots trying to hit this one, and it completely cut our damage pressure. Like if you look at the start of the battle, when he was at like this point, like we're definitely pressuring him enough at this point. Like he's already lost 1600 health in probably the first 2-3 turns. Unfortunately, you know, Enhanced gunpowder really does give you it does give you a massive damage spike towards the start of the combat, and it does kind of drop off. The main reason why the damage dropped off this fight was because we were lacking refreshes. Like I go on and on about it, but it is just super important to make sure that you have enough refreshes. Like Crucible 5 is really killer. You need enough refreshes because it's your damage. It just generates you all of your pegs. It's just so important to hit it, especially if you've got like healing stuff like Slimy Cell. Like you need to be hitting more pegs, which means you're getting more healing. I mean, it's not a surprise, right? You hit more pegs, you win more.